Selina Uglow here. I'm so honored to be doing the Wednesday Wellness series for WCTL. And today I want to talk to you, as we did in the audio, about a great tool resource for you as you get moving. When I see a lot of individuals, whether or not they've just begun to move or they've actually been moving and they're ramping it up, complain about knee pain, or they're starting to have some back pain, or as Rich and I have talked about in the past, plantar fasciitis, the first thing that I recognize is that what they are complaining about is really a symptom of muscular imbalances. And one of the great tools that we can use for that is a foam roller. Now, foam rollers are everywhere. If you go into your traditional retail stores, you're seeing them. They come in half sizes. Some of them are bumpy. There are a lot of different things that I can say about a foam roller, but here's what I'm going to tell you. And I keep mine covered in plastic because I can actually wipe it down and use it for multiple clients. But the key is that a lot of people think that a dense foam roller, one that has absolutely no give, is the best. And as a personal trainer, I'm going to tend to disagree with that, and here's why. If you can't stand to do what I'm going to show you how to do on it, then what good is it? Because I'm not really looking to get you into more pain. Yes, foam rolling is not very comfortable. Basically, it is a self-myofascial release. And what is fascia? Well, it's the connecting tissue between your ligaments and your muscles. And sometimes it kind of gets knotted up in there because it's got a lot of work to do, especially if you're ramping up your physical well-being, okay? So what I like to do is I like to get a foam roller that I can actually get some movement on. And I have a select few that I like, so you're welcome to reach out to me directly at thewaytohealthyliving.com, and I can send you those links and suggestions. I don't really want to spend a whole lot of money for fancy. I do like the ripples for certain things, but not just for general use, so don't go overboard with it. So what I'm going to show you is I'm actually going to show you my 3 favorite things to do with the foam roller. The first one is actually going to be a stretch that opens up your chest. Rich and I talked in the past videos about desk jobs, or working always in front of you and always being rolled forward. And a lot of times we really just need to kind of get ourselves stacked back up on our spine and open up our chest. And the problem is that most of the work that we come home and do, or some of the activities that we do, which have a lot to do with playing on our electronic devices, or maybe catching up on our computer, or even cooking in our stove, keep us in that forward rounded position. So the first thing that I want to show you is basically you're going to get down on your foam roller. Okay, you want to be careful. You want to make sure that you come to the end of the foam roller. I'm going to brace myself with my belly, and I'm actually going to allow myself to roll down onto my foam roller and connect my head. One of the things that you don't want to do is you don't want to have a foam roller that is so short that your neck and your head is hanging over the end. And then I'm going to bring my fingertips to my breastplate, and I'm actually going to open up my arms, and I'm going to just let my hands fall to the floor. And for a lot of people who work in a desk environment, you might actually get to this point and think, oh my gosh, this hurts so much. But what I want to do is I just want you to, once you open that up, I want you to begin to take some belly breaths. So we're all familiar with yoga, and basically what a belly breath or a bellows breath is, a belly breath is to bring it in and let your belly raise. So once you get into this position, good nasal breath in and out. And you always want to exhale twice as much as you inhale. You don't want any pain in this position. And you really just want to hold this position for about a full minute. Please, whatever you do at home, don't try to multitask and maybe bring your phone up front here. That's not going to help. And it's okay to tell your family to give you a break for a minute. Because in this position, what you're doing is you're really allowing your chest and across the front of your neck to open up and your shoulders to drop and some of that tension to release. One of the other things that I would highly recommend is that you block yourself so that you're not wiggling on the foam roller. My feet are about hip width or squat width apart. I'm stable on the foam roller from butt to head, and I simply come out, and I am allowing myself to open up. This is also a really great place to decompress from your day. You know, a lot of us come home and we come from high-stress jobs or very active jobs that require a lot from us. And then we really kind of roll over into the cooking or the house or the finances. And really, this is a good way to just kind of separate the day. And I'm going to show you after this, towards the end, also a back decompression. But the two other most favorite is the Piriformis, which is actually a group that comes across and connects in your hip. And our hip flexors are usually short and tight. And so working on the Piriformis can really help the imbalances that can cause us some back pain. And I'm also going to work on the IT band, because the IT band rolls down along the side of your leg and crosses over your knee. So a lot of people who get active usually tell me they have knee pain and they think they need an orthopedic doctor or they have some arthritis. But sometimes it's just the fact that that imbalance is causing poor tracking of that joint and causing some of those problems. So the Piriformis is basically found in your glute. And what you do, and I'm going to come up to the side here, what you do is you kind of get up on one butt cheek, okay? And I do that simply by crossing over. And then I really do kind of roll up and down that glute until I find that oh so good spot. and I can tell I've worked out today, Rich. That oh so good spot, and then I kind of circle until that knot releases. And then I roll that glute again. I find another spot a little lower. I circle until that knot releases, and then I roll beyond that. So a lot of people say to me, well, Selina, like, how do I know it? And I'm like, well, you just get on the foam roller and you know it. So you always want to work both sides. So I'm going to come to the other glute. I'm going to cross over. I'm going to get a little higher. I'm going to find that spot, and I'm literally just going to roll on that knot, okay? And this is where you know you have a foam roller that is a good density. It's uncomfortable, but it's not excruciating and painful, because you're not going to do it. Who likes pain, right? And then roll through again, and finding that knot, and taking care of it. So the other one, the last one, is the IT band. And the IT band's a little tricky. If you have any wrist problems, maybe you have some carpal tunnel, or you really don't have strength in your wrists, I'm going to show you two ways to do this, because you have to remember that you have to support your body weight. That's the biggest thing about some of what I like to say generic recommendations that are available just out there for all of us to use without talking to a professional, is that a lot of us have bodies that need modifications. And I really encourage you to reach out to a professional that's willing to talk to you if you've had any hand or wrist issues before you would utilize these techniques that I'm showing you. So the IT band, again, runs along down the side of your leg, okay? I want to be below my hip. Do not roll over the bony prominence of your hip, okay? Make sure your foot is in a neutral position. You don't necessarily want to have your toe pointed because you're activating some muscles there. I'd like it to be in a neutral position. And if you do have some wrist issues, you can come right down on your elbow. Use your top leg, and basically what you're going to do is just below your hip, you're going to start a slight roll. Now I might have some grimacing because I've done 3 workouts today, most recently in the last hour, and I'm kind of feeling the foam roller. And actually what I like to do with the IT band the first time through is, instead of oscillating or circular on motion on those trigger points, is I like to actually just depress them. If you need to add more weight, you can actually put one leg on top of the other, and you can go down and find the other point. Now this is particularly uncomfortable for me right now, So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use my top leg as support. I'm going to roll all the way down to just above my knee. You never want to roll, obviously, over a joint the wrong way, right? Because my knee is meant to bend. It is not meant to have a medial or a lateral force to it. Once I've done that whole side, I'm going to come back up actually, particularly with the IT band, and I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to come and I'm going to find that, and this time I'm actually going to kind of oscillate or make a circle in that particular spot. I'm going to make about 5 or 6 circles, and then I'm going to roll on, and I'm going to make 5 or 6 circles to the next spot, and I'm going to roll on. A couple of things that I'm going to share with you about that is that typically when you're rolling that IT band, when you get down to this part of your leg, you're starting to feel some pressure in the knee. Pressure in the knee is particularly fine unless it's pain. Like you really are either too far, so you're starting to get some dislocation in that joint space, or you basically have something else going on. We don't want excruciating pain. So only roll to an area that you can tolerate until you really get this working. But that is really the foam roller, and it's a great tool. It can be used as a warm-up tool. It can be used as a cool-down tool. But most importantly, it helps you correct muscular imbalances, and it also increases your flexibility. It's a great opportunity to take care of yourself. Always follow foam rolling in any exercise with adequate hydration and a good protein and carb mix so that you're really restoring your muscles to where they need to be. So another one of my favorite tools, if you will, that I use post-exercise. And the reason why I say post-exercise is because we never want to stretch a cold muscle. So we want to make sure that even if we feel like we need to stretch, we want to actually walk around and get things moving and get some blood flow into those areas before we just take ourselves into a stretch. Now with stretching, as we've talked about in the previous videos, we want to hold those stretches anywhere between 18 and 30 seconds, especially if we're feeling tight, I'd say longer, because we want to give the muscle some time to learn to release and let things go, as we're doing with the myofascial release technique with the foam roller. So another thing that I like is I like a strap stretch. And the reason why I use a strap, and this is actually a yoga strap, which it can be found in any retail store, and fairly inexpensive, maybe $4 to $6. The reason why I use a yoga strap and not one of those resistance band straps that you might see and you might be using for some resistance, hopefully at your office or your place of work, or even just in a door frame to take care of your shoulders and some of your hips and legs, because there's not a lot of resistance to it. So I don't actually want to have any bounce in my stretch. So that's why I use a yoga strap. So the first thing that we do is we actually get into a lay down position. A lot of people ask me, Selina, can I do this on my bed? And I say yes. In fact, I'll show you another thing in a moment where we can actually do that in our bed. But we don't want it to be a soft bed where our spine is all out of alignment and our butt is kind of sticking into the mattress and we're really not in good alignment. We want to be on a surface that's hard enough to hold our body. We want our legs to be right down from our hips, our toe pointed up to the ceiling, and our shoulders fairly relaxed. And our shoulders will stay relaxed throughout this entire exercise. So the shoulders, or the yoga strap, I'm sorry about that, the yoga strap will be across the middle of your foot, and the first stretch that we're going to do is called a hamstring stretch. So again, notice, I'm not reaching way up high and stressing my neck and my shoulders with this stretch. That's why I like a yoga strap, because regardless of our size, maybe we're long-legged people or short-armed people, we can use this yoga strap. And I'm actually just going to do a nice, gentle pull-up on my leg until I feel a good stretch. Now here, you want to be careful that you don't roll that resting leg out because it just feels comfortable. You want to keep that resting leg in that good straight position, and you're going to pull up, and you're going to find your good hamstring stretch, and you're actually going to hold that for a period of 20 to 30 seconds. You're going to make sure you breathe, and you're not going to hug your shoulders into your ears. So 20 to 30 seconds, make sure you're breathing. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my leg down, and the reason why I take my leg down is because I'm going to be taking my leg into a different position, and I don't want to stress my joint unnecessarily. I'm going to put the strap in my right hand because this is my right leg, and I'm actually going to let my leg kind of fall out to the side. Now the key to this is I'm actually going to leave both of my hips planted in the floor. So I'm not going to bring this all the way over so that my butt actually comes up off of the floor, my hip comes off of the floor. I'm actually going to leave both my hips planted to the floor. I'm going to take it out to a comfortable stretch. Again, my shoulders relaxed, and I'm going to pull up so that I feel that stretch on the inside of my thigh, and I'm not going to strain. If I feel like I'm straining, I can reach across with both hands and I can hold that. So if you're not very strong in your arms and you can't hold that stretch with just the one, the biggest factor is we don't want to cause any neck or shoulder tension here. And I'm going to breathe. Breathing is so important. And then once I'm completed with that, again, I'm going to go back down to that returning position. I'm going to grab both of the straps. I'm going to cross that leg straight over the other leg, keeping my hips planted, and I'm going to begin to gently pull. Now, even with that little gentle pull, I begin to feel that stretch alongside my leg. If I extended that pull a little bit more, I'm now starting to feel that stretch in my knee. So the biggest thing is that this one, when you cross over, your hips stay intact, gentle pull until you feel a stretch, and that's where you hold it. We're not trying to cause pain. Sometimes that stretch can be felt in the groin area. Sometimes that stretch can be felt down in the calf region, sometimes the knee, and sometimes the glute. It all really just depends how tight you are. But that's a really great stretch series for you after all of your workouts to keep that back nice and loose and to address any of those muscular imbalances that you might have. An exercise tip, make sure that if you are exercising that you are doing moves in all planes of motion. Don't just move forward. It's not going to do any good for you. So my last tool to give you is actually called the Basic 4E exercise regimen. And this is something that can be found in a great book that addresses back pain. And one of the reasons why it works so well is because it addresses the gravitational pull that we have on our spine all day long, some of the taxation that goes on in our body, whether or not we work on concrete surfaces or we sit all day long and, sitting is the new smoking kind of thing, or simply just because of the muscular imbalances that we are developing as we're working to strengthen our bodies. So I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to show you the basic 4, but I'm going to show you what I love to really kind of give to everybody, because if you were going to do any of what I'm about to show you, this is the most important. And so essentially I like this folding chair because it puts me in a good position, okay? The thing that you can use at home would be an ottoman, a coffee table, a kitchen chair. Anything that isn't so high that you're out of range of a 90 degree at your knee and a 90 degree at your hip, okay? And so I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'm going to kind of verbally describe, because when I come to the other side, you'll be able to see this. But my hips are in alignment with my legs. My foot is in a good neutral position. I am unweighting completely this leg, and I'm coming here from my breastplate, just as I did with the foam roller, and I'm going to allow myself to kind of sink into the floor. And I'm going to really just kind of find myself comfortable in this position. Now again, we do not not want to roll that resting leg out, which is going to actually cause a little bit of a lengthening in our adductor and shortening in our abductor. We want to leave that leg up, and we want to find ourselves in a good, comfortable position, and really using that belly breath. So in through the nose, making that belly bigger, and out through the mouth, really exhaling, using that diaphragm. Our diaphragm is a muscle, and so a lot of people deal with sleep apnea. As a matter of fact, I just read a great study about hair loss and how it has a lot to do with shallow breathing. And so I encourage everybody to take an opportunity to really check in with how deep of a breath they take and whether or not they're tensing their shoulders or they're filling their belly. So breath in and out. You're going to hold this position for 5 minutes. Then what you're going to do is you're actually going to utilize the chair to get both of those legs, again, in good position. Make sure your spine is nice and straight and long. And you're going to allow yourself to really just let your back decompress in this position. Now, some people will do a legs up the wall move with yoga. I find that sometimes that can cause some back pain. This has a tendency to get our back in a little bit more of a normal spinal position. If you have to, you can use some support. Maybe you have a lordosis or an exaggerated curve in your back, and so coming into a flat back position is causing you some discomfort. Make sure that this does not cause you discomfort. But here, you're just going to find yourself in that open position. You're going to take that breath in through your nose and out through your mouth for another 5 minutes. And then essentially what you're going to do, without much fuss or muss, is you're going to find yourself to the other side. So a lot of people say to me, Selina, that's 15 minutes. I don't have 15 minutes. Well, 15 minutes is less than 1% of your entire day. And if you can't find 15 minutes, I think it's probably time to reevaluate the balance that you have going on in your life, especially if you have any back pain or any problems with some of the things that we've said this would help with. So that is the fourth exercise done at the end of the day. The other exercises that you do, I like to do generally in the morning. And so before I even get out of bed, I like to bring my knee up and hold. If, say you can't reach, this is where this yoga strap kind of comes in. You want to make sure that you're holding it, right? Because I don't want you to be up here and stressing your neck. And I'm just going to take my shoe off because I'm going to talk about the other important piece here. So in the morning before I even get out of bed, because our feet have everything to do with everything that happens to the top of our head, but we never think about working on our ankles. So right here, before I get out of bed, I like to do an ankle roll. And I have pretty decent flexibility in my ankles now. I didn't always have that, and that really affected my rate of injury and my possibility for injury. So I do 30 ankle rolls one direction, 30 ankle rolls the other direction. Now here's the key. A lot of times we want to curl our toe and we want to point our toe and make our circle. I literally want you to rest your leg, holding your leg or holding your leg. And I want you to think about isolating that movement right at the ankle. Sometimes you get some crepitus or some crunching and cracking, maybe some popping. That could be normal if you have limited mobility. This will increase your mobility, so make sure you follow through on it. It cannot or should not be painful. Then from that point, you're going to go head back to that hamstring stretch because now we've got some muscle flow to those muscles. This is also going to help for those folks who have plantar fasciitis because that kind of tends to be a problem when we put our feet on the floor because our feet have dropped and that area has shortened and now we want it to be long. And then from this position, I'm actually going to move that strap right up to the top of my foot and I'm going to drop it down and I'm really going to complete that stretch. So that's actually the first 3 moves. It's the ankle roll, right up into that hamstring stretch, right up into that to get that calf stretch. That calf stretch is what helps a lot of people who have plantar fasciitis. You're getting blood flow to that area. You're helping to stretch that area out. And before you even get moving, you're helping with your flexibility. So between the foam roller, the basic 4, and that strap stretch post-exercise, you've got a lot of tools. Don't just worry about the physical well-being of your body. Take some time to do the maintenance items. That's going to keep you injury-free along the way to healthy living.